Mr. Nuttall, what's your favourite animal of all time?
Favourite animal of all time? Well, growing up, I learned a lot about animals. I absolutely love them. But for me, it's got to be the honey badger. It is often underestimated. It's a small creature of the African savannah, and it just does its own thing, and it doesn't care what anyone else thinks. When it's picked on by lions, leopards, hyenas, it takes them on, never backs down. Really intelligent creature as well. Often overlooked, but fascinating, fearless, and independent little creature. Love the honey badger.
Mr. Nuttall, are there any particular facilities that you'd like to improve in the school?
Well, I think in terms of facilities, we're pretty blessed with some great aspects of school life, with the dorms, the common rooms, the AstroTurf, science labs, memo hall. As you know, we're doing the music school now. I think for the future, though, I'm particularly keen we get the pottery up and running. So relocating the kilns, hopefully to the art department, will be fantastic. I really want us to have a better library, so a bit of a central library where the pottery currently is, I think would be a great development. And also we've got the dance studio, which is languishing as a bit of a dumping ground at the moment. And I think that for many children, particularly for Lambda, dance, to get that sorted out this holiday is one of my missions. So there's a few little areas I'd like to get sorted.
Mr. Nuttall, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen or done?
I think there's a few times in my life I've scared myself, usually doing something a little too adventurous. When I was younger, I was really into surfing. I still like it now, but I'm not very good. But I went surfing in South Africa, and a couple of days before I went diving with the great white sharks, and I thought they were absolutely stunningly beautiful. And then when I went surfing, I had to surf somewhere world famous called Jeffreys Bay, where there are rather big waves and you have to jump off a reef and paddle out. And I was a bit scared because the waves were quite big. And as I paddled out, I saw a dark shape in front of me in the waves. And when I was sitting out the back, I'm sure I saw a fin pass between myself and another surfer. And having seen these huge sharks, I was pretty scared. But I couldn't go back because I get washed onto the rocks, onto the reef. Luckily, when I caught the wave, dolphins jumped out. And I think they were dolphins rather than sharks. But I was pretty scared, I can tell you.
Hi, Ms. Nuttall. Are we going to get a treehouse on Brock Meadow soon?
I loved the treehouse suggestion from the school council, and as ever, if it's something the children want, I feel we should be a yes we can school. A treehouse on Brock Meadow, we've got to have a design, we've got to look at the materials, look at how we can make it sustainable and safe and exciting to use. So I would love for us to get a treehouse. We've got a few things to sit down together and sort out exactly what we can do and what we're looking for. But I think let's give it a go and let's see what ideas we've got and see what we can do together.
Mr. Nuttall, if you could add any subject to the curriculum, what would it be and why?
So, in terms of adding a new subject to the curriculum, I'm a big fan of the creative arts and performing arts. But I think something that would be really useful for children that you don't get taught, either as a child or a teenager or a young adult, is all about financial literacy. So things like financial planning, stocks and shares, mortgages, pensions, bonds, all of these types of things, and entrepreneurialism, so that you go into the world knowing how to make and manage money and look after it, because it's nothing you're taught, but it's so important. And I think that those who've done their entrepreneurial activity on a Saturday morning have got a lot out of that. So I think if we could extend that type of thing for everybody, it could be great fun and really informative as well.
Mr. Nuttall, you love science. What were your favourite experiments, and did anything ever go dangerously wrong?
Well, I love all sciences. I'm a biologist really by trade and my passion, but actually I think I like everybody, chemistry experiments, because that's where you get the sparks and the fire. I remember when I was at school in A-level chemistry, the teacher allowed us to make our own gunpowder. He didn't realise that one of my friends had done some serious research on this. And so as we mixed the components together and set it alight in the fume cupboard, there were some pretty impressive explosions, which was great fun. And then when I was teaching, in my first year of teaching, I did the reactive metals experiment, and of course you always want to put a bigger piece of sodium in, and being young and naive, I put a rather large piece of sodium in the water, and it exploded, much to the delight of the children. Luckily I had safety screens up and everything, so it was all safe, but as the flaming sodium hit the ceiling and came down in a trail of smoke, all the children were saying "ooh" and "ah," and I was petrified that I'd set fire to the school. So I learnt my lesson, and I wouldn't be doing that again.
Mr. Nuttall, what's your favourite character from your favourite film?
Okay, favourite character from a favourite film. A few things spring to mind here. I'm a fan of a bit of an obscure French film called Le Grand Bleu, which is all about freediving, and there's an amazing lead character in that. I can't remember what his name is actually, but that's a fantastic film. And I think something a bit more mainstream. I think his name is Kevin Costner, who's Lieutenant John Dunbar in Dances with Wolves. And I think what I like about that is he's out there in the prairie dealing with the Indian, the Native Americans, and he comes across as a very self-reliant but ultimately a good man in a difficult situation. And of course it's got beautiful soundtrack, fantastic natural history, big vistas, and I think if I could swap places with him, maybe for one of the better days he has, I'd really have enjoyed that.
Hi, Mr. Nuttall. Are we getting any other animals in this school?
More animals in the school. Well, again, I love animals, and I know that a lot of the children ask for the small holding and more animals. I'm open to other suggestions. We'll see what we can do. I know we've got guinea fowl arriving. I've just spent last week creating a guinea fowl run and shed for them to live in. They'll be wandering around at the bottom end of the school, kind of small holding area. I'd love to hear your suggestions. Bring me your suggestions. Let's see what we can do.